Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm so excited because I'm going to be showing you how you paint this gorgeous. It's a cute little bird on a branch at night, silhouetted by the moon over water, its reflections. It's actually very beginner friendly. It uses primary colors plus green. It is part of our painter's kit that's available on the website right now, but you can paint this with any primaries that you have. Just use the yellow and red and blue that you and have fun anyways. If you check the description below, you're going to find a link to our website. And on that website is the traceable, because maybe you're not somebody who draws right now, and also a bunch of extra information that's going to help you really succeed in this painting, because the idea is that I'm going to explain this every step of the way. On the mic is my husband John.
Hey guys.
He's going to be tracking with our 5 cameras to make sure that you see every step of the process and also catch your questions. You're going to see butterflies in the chat. Those are our moderation team. They are there to sprinkle love on you and facilitate your ability to find links and find the information that you need. They're totally there for you for that. And I'm so excited to be getting in today's painting. To that end, though, even though I have around, Johnny, ready?
Okay, hold on a second. We're having a little trouble with your audio.
But we just put new batteries in.
I know we did.
And this is such a good video. Is it on?
Yeah, it's fine. It just popped for a second.
Okay.
Okay. So we're better.
I'm like, but this is so good, and my hair looks so good. I don't want to record.
We're doing okay.
I'm gonna turn it around.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
ready?
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Okay. So I don't really name my paintings necessarily that great all the time. And I started asking my community to name them in our Facebook group. This ended up being a really fun journey on this particular project. And I just want to shout out a couple of things that I saw in that and let you guys know what the official name is. Now, I would say for this painting, the funny names had it. Like, people came with the humor that you guys just cracked me up. I loved reading all 300 suggestions. They were amazing. Here's some funny ones that I saw. I'm going to pull this forward so that I'm not constantly looking to the side. In the humorous category, Jackie had Out on a Limb. There were a lot of versions of this, but she was the first one to put it out there. Rachel said, fluffy chicken on a bayou. Erica, who's quite witty, and also the literary joke, went with, has anyone seen Poe? Christine said, the man in the moon is a bird brain. You're kind of a hoot, Christine. Dolly said, psychedelic tweeter, man, which I really got into. And then Patty Hoffman said, Sherpa tweets. Because the Twitter?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be here a long time and know me why that's so funny. But basically, most of you guys, like Paula said Serenity Moon, Carrie was Moon Song, Kimberly was Twilight Song, Melanie was Moonlight Serenade, Amanda was Moonlight Songstress. You guys had some real feelings that there was a song and a moon. We did the word cloud, and the official name is Moon Song Marsh. So that's what this painting is named. Thank you guys for helping me with that. Let's go over our materials real quick so we know exactly what we're using for today's challenge, just in case you just had no idea and you're like, what am I going to be doing? I have here a 9x12 canvas panel board. This isn't really an artist panel per se, because it's not made with like masonite or some type of really like long-term crazy archival thing, but it's a really wonderful surface. These panels store really well, and in this particular case, if you get the kit, you get 5 of them. When you buy them, you generally get them in packs of 5 as well. So I figured this is a really good week if you have a pack of 9x12 canvases. On there, we have some wishes, and this is really great coming up into the new year. Rita is wishing for strength. She's going through a really challenging time in her life, and she just needs to weather the storm and come out the other side. So just love and support and the angels and compassionate people around her that she needs at this time. Sarah is wishing for her cousin Steffi to have a very good healing journey. She's battling cancer right now, and they're just hoping that she comes to this in healing, and it's the best possible journey that she can have. And I would like to wish for this, myself personally, as we're coming up into 2019. You guys ready? I would like to wish for all of us to have wisdom and to use our better wisdom in 2019. I think it's just a really good time to come into this new world with our new technology and these new platforms and really just slow down and use our better judgments. That's my personal wish for the new year. Over here, I have the colors out. I have In this set, it is yellow medium Azo. You guys ask me this a lot. Yes, you can use cad medium. Yes, you can use Hansa. Yeah, you could use Indian yellow. You could practically get away with yellow ochre or raw sienna. Just any yellow that you have. I have magenta here. This is Quinacridone magenta, but you can use any red you have. Phthalo blue, phthalo green, because that comes in the set. I have titanium white, and I'm going to be doing the entire painting with a number 8 cat's tongue, this brush right here. Now listen, you don't have a cat's tongue? No big deal. You can use whatever brush you have. Use a filbert, use a round, use a bright. That's really not going to be the most important part of the painting is what brush you have. Though I do think this is a pretty darn cool, let me get done. Pretty darn cool brush. Pretty darn cool brush. I play with my husband sometimes on the camera. It's probably not good for your experience at home, but I'm highly entertained. So that's where we're at with that. And again, check that website because the color mixing extra help is there. Some brushstroke direction help is there. We've got this set. Let's look at our mind. Where are we going to do?
I know.
Right here on the easel.
This one?
Take a deep breath. All right. This is your goal. This is what we're doing together. You and me, we're going to do this. Let's get started. I know you can do it.
Okay.
Even if you're like questioning yourself. Now, this next part, this is not strictly in the kit, but I do use them whenever I'm doing any water surface or any place that I need a very level horizon line, because with water, it's super important to have that line be level. So I am going to come, if you think that this is a halfway point in the canvas, about an inch down from the halfway point to make my water line. And actually I could measure this because I'm using this ruler here. Look, we could get this exact. So this looks like it's about just under 3 inches. So let's just make sure we're just under 3 inches. Wow, that was super duper easy, right? Super duper easy. 3 inches up from the bottom. Think we can all handle that, right? Now, if you don't have a T-square, and these can be like about $3. I wouldn't really spend more than $3 on them. You can use a paper towel. They are actually really squared up by the company. This pencil that I'm drawing with is a watercolor pencil, but you could use kids chalk. I just want to give myself a line that I can see so that I know when I'm painting above and below. I'm going to take my brush real quick. I've also written my wishes in watercolor pencil so that I can go like this. See, isn't this fun? Are you guys doing great?
Very good.
Now, while I'm prepping this, look around and see if you have a 5-inch wide dessert plate, roll of tape, something round, because this is going to help you draw a circle. I happen to have a roll of tape, which is what I'm going to use today. And listen, if it's a 6-inch or 4-inch, don't do the project. It's fine. It's close enough. Nobody's like going to get graded on the size of their moon. So, you know, be relaxed about it. I just want to let you know we're doing that. All right, we've put that energy into the universe there. Here's my 5-inch roll of tape, and I'm going to come over, if this is the center of canvas, I'm going to move over slightly to the right, and I'm going to take just a smidge of my tape below that water line, and I'm going to very carefully draw around, like you do. There we go. I have a moon setting into the water. That's how easy that was. Now, everything around here is going to be about brush direction. Right? If you've never ever painted before, this is going to be really, really helpful to you. We're going to be doing brush strokes that are going to be going around, see the curvature of this, through this whole sky. It's going to be the lightest here, and it's going to be moving darker and darker into the outer edges of the sky. We're going to call that a gradation. So that's what we're talking about, okay? That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And to get that, what we're going to do is I'm at first going to take some white and load up my brush. Pull my water in closer to my work surface so I'm not reaching. You don't want to be reaching too much in your workspace because it can exacerbate injuries or create injuries actually. And I'm going to go ahead and just brush around my little moon with just a little bit of white so that when I come back with my very light turquoise, I have a nice light base to work into, and it's going to prevent me from over darkening near my moon with my color. Now, turquoise is made with 1 part blue and 1 part green. You mix them together and you're going to get a beautiful turquoise. See how we're doing right there? Just mixing blue and green together. If you don't have green, you can make take your yellow and blue and make a green and do this too, so you'll be fine. I'm going to wipe off my brush, get just a little bit of pigment on there, come get some more white, and I'm going to come around the moon, and on the edge of the brush, I'm just brushing very lightly. Look, I'm curving the stroke. Can you see the curve of the stroke?
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to come on the tip of the toe of the brush to just go gently around the moon. Breathe in, breathe out, relax. You're going to be okay. This painting, you're going to do great at. You've got this. Notice that I'm just keeping attention to the curve of my brush stroke. I'm going out. Just painting a little bit of that. That's going to help make my sky work really, really well. And as I come up, you can see when I get out of the white, it instantly darkens that paint, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a nice thing. Sometimes when you're new to painting, it's real easy to over darken. There's a thing in acrylic called color shift, which means the paint dries darker than the color you put on the canvas. Now with inexpensive paint, that color shift can be really dramatic, but even with very pricey pro paints, it's still going to happen.
Now I talk a lot about that during when you're hair drying stuff. Because heat from a hair dryer is particularly bad for that, right?
It can make it worse in some of the more temperamental paints. So here we go. We're just getting this right there, and I'm going to bring that dark color around. Fun stuff. Rinsing, rinsing, rinsing. The reason I'm rinsing right there is I want to get the white pigment out so that as I'm going out, I'm getting darker colors. So I'm going to come right here, again, mixing 1 part blue and 1 part green to make my turquoise. And I'm going to just continue to brush outward, blending in, but using my brush strokes to help blend that. I find this sky does best if I do about 2 coats to get the full effect. It looks the most finished and will probably be the most enjoyable for you at home too. And I like to think about how you guys are doing at home. The reason I like to do 2 coats is that the phthalos can be a little bit transparent. All the modern colors can actually be a little bit transparent. So, and you'll notice I'm painting a little over my horizon line here, but I can put it back really easily. Now, 2 things I can do here. I can paint inside my moon, or I can dry it. In this particular case, I think I'm going to dry it with my hairdryer, if that's okay. And I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, push button. Okay. So while she's doing that, you guys already heard that color shift, not so good. So I'm going to say thank you to everybody for coming and painting along with us today. I love, love, love that you're with us. Man, I have to say I feel so grateful for you guys because Cinnamon and I are blessed with the ability to get to do the work we love to do for you. And thank you for this opportunity. We love doing it. And thank you very much for being. Okay.
Oh, it's nice things.
What did I say?
So I'm seeing a mistake. Well, I don't want to really say mistake. What I'll say is that there's something in my painting that's not exactly like how I want it to be. You can't really make mistakes in art, but you can do something where you're like, that's not what I was going for. That's not what I was trying for. I want something different. And I see that now. My moon is a little bit lower than I would like. And I don't feel like it's going to give me enough surface, right, for the bird to really show up. So I'm going to move this up a titch. And that's going to change my painting just a small amount. But this is something I want you to know happens to everybody. We can all have something where we're like, man, that's not exactly how I want it. And what I do about that is I just dry the paint and just change it. That's all you got to do. You don't need to feel bad or say, oh, I can't believe I made a mistake, or be mean to yourself. You can just be like, oh, okay, that's a thing that happens in art. I put the tree maybe in a different place than I now see I want the tree. Move the tree. That's all you got to do. You don't got to tell everybody that you didn't do the tree right the way you wanted or any of that. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my paint. I'm going to load on my brush. I'm going to load up, pulling out, flipping and pulling out. And I'm going to go around my new line just to show where things might be a little bit changed. You can see that now. And then I can come back when I paint in my moon a bit and also fix that out. I just want to make sure that I've got enough surface around the moon to really put a nice bird in there where I want that bird to be. And as you can see, as we add that blue pigment in again, that turquoise pigment, we're getting those wonderful streaks, those radiated streaks. Beautiful light coming out. I'll rinse out. I'm going to go ahead and make my darker turquoise, which is right here. Again, you see me taking the 1 part blue, 1 part green. I'm going to just go ahead and make sure I've got my 2 coats to get that beautiful coverage on the sky. Now I can just rush through these, and to you on the camera it'll actually look okay, but I know at home that your piece might not actually look the way you want it to. And that's just something I've learned teaching on YouTube for a while about making adjustments for what your result at home might be, even though you might not see it on the camera at all. So sometimes if you're having a result like you're painting and you feel like yours looks really radically different, you know, stop and ask yourself, is it that I'm doing it differently, or is it possible that the camera view or the way it's filmed is hiding that they look very similar? If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, John? I don't know. Sometimes I explain myself. My husband, he's like, he'll totally tell me if I'm not making sense.
It's so funny because I'm sitting here watching you paint, kind of half spaced out, and then you ask me, so what do you think about that? And I'm like, I was totally paying attention. I was not spaced out watching you paint, daydreaming about how those brushes are kind of cool looking, and I wish I had an extra zoom lens.
Not in any way?
Not in any way. So what were you saying?
Well, I was just saying that sometimes I'll do stuff like I will do that extra coat, even though you may not see why on my canvas I would need that.
Yeah.
Because I know at home your paint's transparent and you're going to be right on it and really seeing it, was where with the camera and the lighting you might not see the streakiness in my canvas.
But you really can see the streakiness.
Oh, okay. Is that? I guess we got new cameras, so
I can see individual streaks. I mean, like I can get and we're now I'm just being silly. But
well,
I mean,
be silly, have fun.
Oh, I'm gonna zoom out because it's like now there's no point. I can get so close with that you can literally just see the individual weave marks in the canvas board. So
isn't that nice?
I didn't even go in, so I just realized that I was being silly and didn't complete the zoom because it was.
Hear how vigorous that swishing is? I am really pulling the pigment out of my brush. Because the next part I'm going to do is going to be in yellow, and I don't want too much of that green on there, or I'm going to really struggle and end up with the green moon. So my first color I'm going to take a little bit of my white into my yellow and a smidge of my magenta, as you do. And what I'm doing is warming the yellow a bit. And I'm going to start painting in this moon, more the size I was hoping to have to hide my little birdie. Got to give him reason to be silhouetted, otherwise I got to paint him so small. Though the whole like fantasy nature of this painting means that you can pretty much do what you want. That's one of the great things about doing art that's a little bit surreal or fantastical, is that you can just paint it how you like. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Right now I'm just trying to cover this with a bit of this white, yellow, and smidge the magenta paint. You're doing good, I bet. How many people have their tongue out when they paint? Sometimes I do that. I end up with this like crazy face. I didn't believe people, but they took pictures of it once when I was like in art school. I was like, oh wow, that's a real thing I'm doing. So I'm just making sure that this is thoroughly covered. And I'll make a little more white you know, maybe on this side. I love doing moons. They're one of my favorite subjects to paint. If you've been on the channel for a while, you know that because we've done it a couple times. If you have somebody that's very into space in your home, my tip is to actually look up the moon and try to copy as much as you can the craters and patterns in it, because the astronomers in your family, they're going to tell you if you got it right or not.
Some days.
Mm-hmm. They're being helpful. I'm going to try this one more time, babe.
Okay. So, here we go. I'll see if I can get my cameras back over to the right place. There you go. Thanks, guys, for coming and being here. Like I said earlier, really love. Oh, and thank you for all the well wishes and happy birthdays. Thank you very much. I appreciate all that. I do see them. I am super busy today switching, as you can see. We've got a lot more going on. So
Let's flip that over. You ready?
I am.
You sure?
No.
No. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of my magenta out, and I'm going to get a smidge, just a smidge, smidge of my blue. And I'm going to make a purple that's more red in its nature, more towards the red than the blue. Take a good amount of it because I've got a lot of background to cover. Wipe off the extra. I'm going to get some white into this. And coming from this moon towards me, I'm going to start creating this space that's going to be the reflection in there. Get more white even, because this is going to be quite light. This is where the light is coming from. When I'm going back and forth, I'm going to want to keep these brush strokes as level to my waterline as possible. And I'm going to wander them more to one side and more to the other. I used to call this like the dot matrix printer, where you go did. You don't want to get these at an angle. It's very important to keep this as horizontal as you can. As I move forward, you know, I'm just going to keep wandering these around, just making sure that I've got this little space, this corridor of light that I'm going to play with in a little bit. Now, going out, I'll definitely get some more magenta into that purple and a little bit of white, but not too much. So it's darker, but not as light as this. So you know what? The
I have
darkest.
the most delightful thing to share with you as soon as you have a moment.
I have a moment. What are we doing?
Okay. So Tasha just shared up in chat.
Tasha?
No.
Oh.
Cinnamon has a longtime friend of hers who's also named Tasha.
Sometimes she comes to the show.
So another one of our Sherpets, Tasha.
Hi, Tasha.
She says, "Oh my gosh, guys! I just got my first set of Art Sherpa brushes. I feel like a child who got new sneakers. You know those sneakers that make you feel like you can run faster? I feel like I can paint 1,000% better now."
You totally can.
And I appreciate that that emotional connection and that feeling that you get, and I just enjoy celebrating that because I too do that. And you know, I have when I get my new Blizzard toys, I always feel like, you know, similar feelings. So I enjoy it.
Thank you, Tasha. Now here in the center, I want you to notice something. See how this line wanders? Like when you go here, it's wandering out, it comes in, it goes out. We're not really making a ladder. They're different lengths. Like I might pull this one, you know, you can pull that deeper into there. What you're trying to do is create the rippling effect that water gets. So we've got that going in and out. So make sure that you're getting that in and out. Notice that I was on the toe of my brush. Every brush has a toe. That just means the tip of your brush. Working the edge, that's the thinnest side of the bristles. You're not going flat like this. If you're in this direction, you're going flat. If you're in this direction, you're on the edge. Wouldn't matter what brush you have. The rounds are a little easier to catch that edge, maybe, than another type of brush, but they all have it. So I'm going to come here. I'll have to flip this over in a minute to make sure that I've got a nice level water line. That would be the big thing here. You can get away with a lot of water paintings, but you got to get your water lines super level. Isn't this fun? Just pulling this in. Just dashing this in. And I can always go back and add more reflection where I need it. So don't feel like you can't. You may have some of your turquoise showing through. That's okay. We're doing a couple coats, so we're going to be able to absolutely fix that. Now I'm going to pull out a little bit of my magenta and quite a lot of my blue. I'm going to make a very dark purple. I don't want it to be blue. I do want it to be purple. Go ahead and put a little white into it. And we're going to again come along here. I'm going back and forth into the water. See, I'm on the toe, back and forth, back and forth. You've got this. Just rock that brush back and forth. I'm making lots and lots of little things. Get a little white into there. There you go. As we go, it's darker. It's our darker, cooler color. I'm not trying to make a midnight scene here, though. And we're going to have to flip over and assess. And the reason I flip my canvas like this is my current positioning of my canvas is about 4 inches too low. So it's important that I don't try to work the bottom or I'll get injured.
We're still adjusting studio.
We're still adjusting the studio. It's so true. All right, so now I've got to come through here and I'm going to make a little bit of a horizon line, right? I'm going to come along here and make sure that this is as level as it can be. I've taken a little bit of white in my purple and I'm leveling that out. Let's come across the side, try to make that as level as we can make it. There we go. Because this first coat is about that. Then I might come in and get a little bit of my magenta kind of color there. A little bit of purple in it that I mixed up the first time. And let's make sure that we are coming down with that lighter color back and forth. See, this is our second coat. And maybe it'll come a little bit further out this way. There we go. Back and forth, wiggling down, just making sure it's like a little wiggly river. Anywhere that you're seeing canvas like white and showing through, go ahead and fill in. I'm going to fill in some of my turquoise here. I'm going to come above my waterline and I'm just making sure that my canvas in this spot is all covered because it wasn't and I want to make sure it is. See how I'm doing that? So if you're seeing a spot where it's not, go ahead and fix it. Don't be stressed about it. There we go. Checking the other side. Just making sure we're nice and flush to the water. It is true that we do have reeds. We do have things that are going to be breaking up our eyeline, but we don't want to just depend on that to fix our situation. Vigorous wash. Test the moon. Oh my gosh, moon is ready to do. So the moon is a really fun combination of the magenta and the yellow. We're going to be using the yellow to warm up the magenta, and then we will pop in some deep little kind of crater work with a little bit of a purple. So it's a really fun journey. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of my lighter moon going. Just a titch. See, I'm just grabbing a small amount. There we go. And let's come here and make sure that this side of our moon's a little bit lighter than the rest of it. I'll grab a little bit more of my white. And you're going to notice that what I'm trying to do is make very uneven patterns. Going down, get the water where I need to. Just coming into this. Now, where I want to like make it deeper, I might grab a little bit of my magenta and my yellow. I come right here and fill in a little crater space. Look how I'm wiggling the brush back and forth. I'm going to follow this little edge here with a little bit of this. And notice that this brush stroke is very wiggly, it's very loose, it's scumbly, it's painterly. You'll hear those terms used in art. And what we're really talking about is, am I showing my brushstroke or am I hiding my brushstroke? How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
All right, we're coming across the bottom here. We're going to just brush that up. It's going pretty well. Let's make sure, though, we don't have like obvious strokes. So see how I'm like tapping the edge here and softening and blending that in? It's going to help the moonness of it. And I can even come back with a little bit of white. So you can work this back and forth. Rinse out. Now I'm going to get into my magenta. I'll put a little yellow in my magenta. As you do, it's going to pick up a bit of white. And I'm going to come around this side. This is one of my favorite colors in the whole piece. I'm going to come on the edge of my brush. Bring this down. Just a nice smooth brush stroke down. See how I use the edge of my brush to get a nice line? And right here, if you follow it, it creates that crisp edge. See? That's how I get that. Dip in water. Make sure I've got what I need. And come all the way to the end. Definitely be very careful there. Brushing up. I want to give it a nice merge. And now let's use the brush again to show some of these little unexpected patterns. If you need more white, grab it. You can see where it's a little bit orange, it'll blend in, and you can come back and soften this outer edge of your moon. If you've never done this before, really take a minute and enjoy it. I think moon painting is celestial body painting, let's call that, because I don't feel like this is probably really our moon. I'm going to pull out a little of my pink. I'm going to come right here. Let's add a little light crater with our pink. See, I'm on the edge of this brush right here, and I kind of wiggle it around. Want to know what the biggest challenge is to doing this technique?
What's that?
Just knowing that you did it right. When you're really new to painting, you will perceive the things that you're doing as wrong and maybe second guess yourself a little bit when you're doing it. Just adding a little bit of pink there. Pulling that in. Making sure that I've got a nice little moon. You can always like check it and be like, how am I doing? Am I doing good? Play with your moon. Paint your moon. Enjoy your moon. I just added like oranger color there. Makes it warmer. Now, I do think it's nice. It's not necessary, but I do think it's nice to get like one of the more purple colors in there. Just a little bit. And kind of like, I'm going to add a little bit of a darker crater, see? Using that purple. And I'm keeping it a very kind of weird, uneven edge. Right there, and add a little bit of a darker purple. Little craters. Little craters. Oh, that got splashy. Make it splashy. You need to get a little bit of your yellow. Come back. You've got lots of times, lots of options. You're not trapped. You're good. I'm gonna get a little pink here. Come up this side. Just softly, just a little bit. And wiggle it out. Rinse, 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 rinse. It may be a good time to clean your water. It's a good time to change water. Here we go. Pull this forward. I'm ready to do the next layer of my water. You guys ready for the next layer of your water?
Mm-hmm.
It's real fun. Let's get into it. So, of course, the next cool color I get to do is my purple. Who doesn't love the purples? I love some. I'm going to come along here, and I'm going to go on the toe of my brush. I'm going to just, using that same kind of uneven water reflection, make sure that I'm coming down. I'm back and forth, right? Covering that canvas, and it's getting rich and deep. Even though we're just using a few colors, it looks like a ton of colors now already. Come on this side and add some of that. Just a little bit. Water to improve the flow of my brush. Are you guys doing okay?
Very good.
Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. You're doing fine. You're just painting. Now I'm going to put out a little more white. You're going to find that you probably go through about twice as much white as any other color. So you may often have to put that out. I always put out more paint than I need because it helps it show on camera. So you don't have to put out the amount of paints that I'm putting out. I'm going to add a little bit of white to my brush, and it's going to make this kind of wonderful, more purple color. I'm going to come right here, and like we're going to just brush back and forth. See that wonderful brush back and forth? That's the rippling mirror. Highlights. Just brushing back and forth. Just back and forth. Pretty stuff. And you can see as we go, it just makes it feel more finished each time. More beautiful. More fun. Just working that out. Getting that purple in there. I love purple. Along here, make sure that's nice and level. Always fun to do. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my pink out and some of my yellow. You don't want orange, you want it to still be pink, but when you get it white into it, it's going to just warm up a bit. I'm going to come along here. Look at that. Just on the edge, toe of your brush. Play with that, maybe take some of this in a little bit. Take some in. Goes in deep. Isn't that pretty? Wiggling. You can bring a couple strokes out into the water. Back in, back and forth. Get a little more color and come this side. And we'll just brush that back and forth. Sometimes I like to get a little bit of white and come in here and just make sure that I can take a little bit of the pink. See how we're going back? Putting a little bit of pink in there. Taking that watercolor around can really do some beautiful stuff. Look at the little zigzag that we've got going. See how level it is? Everything here is very, very, very dynamic, and that's what's sort of super fun about it. Now I can take some of my yellow and a ton of my white, and I can come along here, go over the top of everything. Dip in the water if I need to. So it's not like the white reflections so much initially because there's some yellow into it, and you can always pull it out into different parts of your painting. If it picks up a little bit of color, that's okay. It's actually only nice, just gorgeous. It's fun. Just painting this beautiful, beautiful river of light. Get that river of light. And you'll notice that I've got smaller brush strokes in the back, and then they get bigger as I come up front. Dip in water for just a little bit better flow. Let's go ahead and put some reflections outside of there. Just a couple of places, like we're coming down, boom, boom. Go in a little bit. Come back out towards the left, back towards the right. Just a few little playful bits that we know we're going to enjoy. That's pretty nice. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put out our black paint. And you would think if your water's dirty that it's okay to just do that with the black paint. But believe it or not, you really don't want that dirty of water because the pigment in the water will dull your black if you want your black to be super vibrant. I'm going to show you how we, right? You'll notice that I took a very wet brush and I'm swirling it around. And what I'm doing is I'm thinning the black paint a little bit. I don't want it to be an ink consistency because it'll drip everywhere. But I don't want it to be heavy bodied either. I want it to start to thin out so that I can easily paint it from the brush to the canvas in nice fluid strokes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come right here. And I'm going to come on the edge of the brush, this edge of the brush. Very lightly pressing just on the toe, light as I can. A thin little stroke. Come to the side of this, because this is going to be a little group of reeds, and then maybe just break one, right? You're going to want to break some of these reeds. Bring these around. Just making these fine little lines. They're fun to me. But when you're new to painting, it can be stressful because you have this real sense of this is right or this is wrong. When you've been doing it for a while, you'll be like, you don't even care if they necessarily connect. You're like, visually it works. I like to think about the way grasses can be in a pond. To do the cattails was really interesting. You're gonna notice I'm pressing the paint out of my brush, getting it on the tip. How I did that is I would come on the edge and I would press down and make these little points. Right? If I have to come back the other way, this is like the little cattail pod where we need them to be. Wipe out. And then I would come very carefully and do a little fine line with just the edge of the brush. Now again, you don't have to use a big brush. My point of this is that the kit, which is on the website, only has one brush, but you only sometimes need one brush. And I feel like it's a good idea every once in a while for me to demo that it's not about having just a gazillion art supplies. It does help to have art supplies that you can count on, you know, that treat you well. But it's not that hard to get those little reeds going. Let's make another little cluster of reeds through here. There should be some kind of loosely open, right? Like you get in the water. And then maybe another little cluster of leaves and bits here. Look, I'm just coming, go down. See how that just, you can make those different little lines. Let's bring it up. My pressure on this is so light. That's how I get this. How do I get fine lines? The paint's thinned enough and the pressure on the brush is enough. Trying to make that nice. I'm going to add a couple more cattails here. Pressing down, making those little cattail pod strokes. I like to add that little fine line that really helps identify it as a cattail. Okay, so I've got that there. Now when I've got this here, I'm going to come underneath and I'm going to go back and forth kind of a little bit in the reeds. Look at that little wiggle. And I'm going to take just some of that black reflection in a ripple forward. Not too much, but just some. On this side, I'm going to add some more reeds. Come about right here.
Oh. I was looking at something else. Where are you going?
That's okay.
Oh.
I like to cross a few of them.
I couldn't see you.
I might do a pod or two in front of the moon. Okay. That's fun. It's fun to make cattail pods. Just talk about those weird little leaves that happen in the swamp, in the bayou, in the marshes.
Boy, you're fast on that paint.
Am I?
You're just like.
I feel like I was like sort of just relaxed and kind of trekking along very slowly. I'm going to go ahead and add that little bit of a shadow. That's one of the number one things. If you're a new painter, you'd ask all the time, how can I be a better painter? Watch for shadows. In your life, all the time, observe where the shadows are. If you can start to understand where objects create shadow, you're going to really improve your artwork by years really fast. So just in the grocery store, wherever, be like, where do I see the shadows? Where are the shadows being cast? Under the people? How do they look? Under the cars? And what you're going to start to notice is that in your artwork, it's super important to make sure that you have those shadows. I'm rinsing out quite vigorously, not because I'm switching pigment colors in any way, but because what can happen on a brush is that the paint can start to dry on it and really ruin your painting experience because it gets glumpy. Now I'm going to come right about here, I think, and I'm going to make a little branch that my bird can live on. So I'm going to come across the water like that. So going to be the width of the branch, I think. We'll come through here. That's the size he gets. I like to taper it out. I just like to give him enough room to stand. It's always important to give your birds enough room to stand on. All right. And remember, if you don't draw, we've got a traceable. It's okay. It's not cheating. No way is that cheating. Bring this little branch over here to the side. Look how I just took that stroke up and made a little branch to the side. And it's okay that it's rough because it's a branch. Now he's a little bit of a journey. I'm going to dip my brush in some water, just make sure I've got enough paint thinned out for him. He's a lot of fun and I really like him. I'm going to think about him for a second before I put him in. So what a good thing we can do is like maybe put in a little reflection. It's going forward this way. Where you know he's going to be, you can even thicken that reflection. Saying, oh, he's like right there. That's a big part of the bird reflection. And then wiggle it back. So we're just making sure that there's shadow, right? In the water that looks like what's above it. When I do him, I know that I want 2 tiny little legs. And for me, sometimes it helps to do the legs. Very tiny little leg. Not too far from it. Little tiny little leg. Oh, that's cute. Those are perchy little legs. Now, he's got a little round bird body, so I'm going to curve that. Let's paint this really awkward little circle. It's an awkward circle. It's even an awkward circle for me.
Why is it?
So what I now basically have is Peep in the big wide world sitting on a branch at this stage. If you have kids, you know exactly what I mean.
Peep in the big Sherpa world.
Peep in the big Sherpa world.
I like that.
Where's the duck?
Yeah, I'm the duck.
You're the duck?
I'm the duck.
I would love you to be the duck. I like how okay, I'm not going to go into like some child show that we all got stuck watching with the kids. So on top of the head, I'm going to bring up a little bit. And when I do this, I go very slowly and incrementally because I can always increase, but it's super hard to reduce, right? Now, I'm going to come out here and say, all right, somewhere right about here, I know I want a beak. So I'm going to make that nice triangle. Look at that. If you have a smaller brush than this one, you may want to get it. Because this isn't particularly easy to do this detail work with. I just can. Coming off the back of the tail, I'm going to put a little bit of these little feathers. This one's a little bit longer than the rest. And I think it's nice to imply a little wing. It's right there. And then I like to come in and say, oh, your little chest is a bit fluffy. See, his little chest is fluffy. And I can make him fluffy. So now he's a little less Peep. And a little more bird. One last sweet little touch that I think really adds a lot to the painting. So let's dry everything real fast because we don't want to drag the black around.
This is going to totally come in under an hour.
Really?
Yeah, you're 48 minutes. So while she's doing that, I'm going to say, hey guys, it's been awesome. Been totally awesome hanging out with you guys. Love you guys. This is cool. Yeah, and just so you know, this is this painting can be done using the kit that you see over there, Cinnamon's left shoulder there. That's the Pinners 2018 kit. We have those for sale. Link in the description down below. This, along with all of the paintings that have been done this week, are all using that. So that's why we've been using that one brush and those.
You could use a lot of brushes.
Right. Normally we use a lot of brushes, but I was just saying that this is one of the bonus content videos for the kit over your shoulder.
But
So
anyone can do it. All you got to do is have primary colors.
yeah.
We
So
didn't want to like exclude anybody. So these extra 5 videos are for you guys. All right. So I'm going to load up my brush. And there's a playlist on the YouTube channel of everything on the channel that goes with these colors. I'm loading up with just Phthalo Blue. And I want you to come under your reeds and you're going to paint in a little bit of a cool shadow. Look at this. Back and forth. We're not going to forget our reflection technique. We're going to keep using it. Go ahead and pull some out. Coming forward. Like just a little bit blue. See what we're doing? Be there. Come forward here. And as I go forward, I might open these like up a little bit and just make them little kind of deep dark reflections that are happening. Ooh, that's nice. I just feel like this adds this like zhuzh.
it is. It does it extra.
Zhuzh, zhuzh, zhuzh. You need extra zhuzh in your painting sometimes. Now, you can be the most famous painter in the world. You can be a hobbyist, but one thing we all have in common is we're all looking to add extra zhuzh. You know, Kapoor didn't like take Van to black and make it an exclusive because he wasn't looking for zhuzh. He might have a nice way he writes about his zhuzh, but it's still zhuzh. Just keep leaving that kind of open. I'm going to come here with the blue as well. Wonderful little bit of reflection where the bird is. You can just thicken that up a bit. You can see I'm doing. And then maybe a couple forward. And then one last blue. And then we are all good, guys.
You're going to have to sign it?
We're going to, oh yeah, I'm going to sign it.
God, sign it. This is, I love the way that the moon turned out in this one.
Yeah, everything about this piece really pleased me to no end. And I think this is a fun one for students to do. So I'm excited about it. Now, all right, I am going to use a detail brush to sign because nobody needs to be that aggravated trying to sign with a big giant brush. And I think it's totally okay to use the tool that works for you.
Tweet in the Big Sherpa world.
Tweet in the Big Sherpa world is its unofficial name, I guess. It was Peep.
Oh, I know, but this is Tweet.
Tweet in the Big Sherpa world.
I don't want to violate anybody else's copyright.
I know many of you are like, and Kevin the Kraken attacks and needs it, but no. Like, where's our Kevin? All right, I'm going to turn around. You guys ready?
All right, ready.
So we're coming on to a brand new year. Maybe you're watching this after the New Year's in full swing, but wherever you are in your life, I hope this is a time of rebirth and self-discovery. Remember, at the end of the day, you've got to be good to yourself and be good to each other. And I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.